Hey guys, wanted to jump on the low snap here, and today I actually wanted to talk about my rankings for the top quarterbacks in this past year's NFL draft. I had already posted it on Twitter, just kind of wanted to go a little bit more in depth here. Full disclaimer, as some of you have already seen that I have discussed this on Twitter, I am really not looking at, this quarterback throws harder because he throws it this many miles per hour, as opposed to this quarterback who threw it this many miles per hour. I'm not really looking at intangibles, didn't really factor in a whole lot of combine film. Yes, I watched the combine, but it's a different game now. Throwing in shorts and a sleeveless cutoff, that's not football. We got a little taste of everyone, and I evaluated it based on that. So without further ado, I actually think my number one quarterback is Sam Darnold, the New York Jets quarterback. And really, I like his attitude. He's always coming in here to compete. And on the preseason game, a lot of his throws were really good. He showed great things moving up in the pocket. One throw that really moved him up my board, and honestly is really the one separating thing that has him between my number two, is the throw that he made. It was about a minute and 15 seconds left in the first half, and he's running, scrambles out of the pocket, actually stays behind the line of scrimmage, and throws it into the front corner of the end zone for a touchdown. That was huge to me. That shows that he can improvise, but yet he's not just thinking wildly. He's saying, okay, what gives my receivers the best chance? Like, he probably could have ran and picked up some yardage, but he stayed behind the line of scrimmage and threw the ball with poise and completed a touchdown pass. That was huge for me. Now, some of the bad things on him were he did miss some receivers, some passes that I thought he could have had. He did miss that. But overall, I think he showed a lot of poise, is actually pushing for the Week 1 starter for the Jets. So out of the rookies, it does look like he is going to be the earliest to start, which also was a factor and that is something they really can't control. Like, their ability to start on their team could be billions of factors, but it looks like Darnold is making that push early, definitely giving Josh McCown some heat for that starting job. Getting into number two, I think it is Baker Mayfield, and I really have nothing against Baker Mayfield. I actually don't mind the fact that he is 6 foot or 6'1", depending on where you read it from. His off-the-field issues at Oklahoma, I attribute to passion. Getting into the preseason game, though, I thought there were a few throws on some busted coverages where his receivers were wide open that they caught the ball, but they had to stretch for it or go kind of get down to the ground for it. And if it was a better placed ball, could have gotten more yards, and he could have had even better stats. 11 for 20 is a little bit lower than what you like to see, but he did have some drops. Again, it's really just the ball placement. I thought it was a lot better with Darnold. I think Darnold throws a lot better of a ball downfield more than Mayfield, and this is kind of where the Twitter argument came in. If you guys haven't seen that, go check it out. My username, or my @ symbol thing, is NICH_Wood. I think it's compelling. I don't really use stats, a whole lot of direct numbers to determine my rankings. It's just feel and the simple eye test, which is what I feel scouting is a lot about. Sometimes you just have to look at it and you got to go with it, because kind of taking a moment here, a lot of the drafting quarterbacks, it's a total crapshoot, guys. All the numbers can point to everything. I was young, so this is all research looking back, but a lot of people thought Jamarcus Russell was going to be a star. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way because of some intangibles, but he had the rocket arm everyone's talking about. And kind of a more notable situation, the Peyton Manning-Ryan Leaf thing. Ryan Leaf had the laser arm. Peyton just had the smarts to do it. Peyton Manning was never known for a gigantic arm. He isn't someone that would physically wow you, but he made some great throws, and he proved he was a better pro than a lot of people physically and measurables can tell you. So I don't really look at measurables. I look at just the eye test and kind of go for my gut sometimes. I feel like that's what a lot of scouting is. So again, that's how I determine these rankings. But again, with Baker Mayfield, getting back on track here, I think he could be a great pro. It is just one preseason game. These rankings are subject to change because my timeline and videos, they're not something I commit to. It's changing. It's a learning experience. But again, he missed some throws, but he did show some good stepping up in the pocket. I did like his just pocket awareness overall. That's how he earned my number 2 spot. Next up is Lamar Jackson. I think coming from the Hall of Fame game to his second preseason game, it was a world of difference, which just shows this kid can work at it. Again, I think he wants to run too much. He needs to realize this isn't college and he won't be able to get away with that. But I do feel like that is another aspect of his game that, frankly, these other quarterbacks don't have. Darnold and Mayfield can get you the 5 yards, but I don't think they're as big of a home run hitter to get those 30-yard touchdown runs that Lamar Jackson could potentially have. I really like his throwing ability, and I think it's highly underrated. I did like the move coming out of the combine to just do the throwing drills, not the running drills. Not so much for the fact of how they looked, just for his confidence level, saying, I'm a quarterback, I know what this is, and I'm going to show it. And I feel like even in the Ravens huddle, it shows he has a great command of the team, and he can will the offense to move the ball. His passing needs to improve if he wants to move up the list, and that's certainly something that I'm looking for. He certainly needs to learn to slide, and I think that's something he can learn from RG3, because RG3 realizes that, kind of taking the year off football. He realizes what changes he needs to make. He looked good as well in the preseason game, but I think Jackson could potentially jump him for that number 2 spot. I don't think he'll get a whole lot of playing time this year, which is kind of why he's low on my list. I think it's a Pat Mahomes situation, but certainly he's electric enough to, if he does get in, he can make some waves. Next up, I actually have Josh Allen at number 4, ahead of Josh Rosen, simply because Allen is very intriguing. Some of you might have saw on my Twitter, I had retweeted where Allen just took a horrible sack, and getting down to it, his accuracy is something that needs to improve for him to show that he can be a full-time starter and not Kyle Bowler 2.0. I have to put him on this list just because of his arm talent. Like, I could literally sit and just watch him throw 80-yard bombs all day. I like the fact that he's 6'4", 6'5", 250 and can stand up in that pocket and sling it. I think that'll help him a lot, given that Buffalo is replacing their left tackle, left guard, and center, and their right tackle and right guard are middle of the pack anyhow. That's one way that I could see him unseating A.J. McCarron and Nathan Peterman, is just the fact that he can sling it. And A.J. McCarron and Nathan Peterman, they're not going to give you anything spectacular. They're Mr. Consistency. They'll go, 7 for 10. I think that's what McCarron actually did in the preseason. Nothing spectacular to beat out. I think his potential speaks for a lot, but I'll definitely need to see a lot more from that. Josh Rosen, it's more the physical aspect of it is. I feel like he hangs in there and takes too many hits. I really saw that, and that's a combination of him and the Cardinals' offensive line. He definitely needs to add some weight. There aren't very many skinny quarterbacks in the NFL. Matt Ryan is kind of the exception. And Rosen's mentality rubs me the wrong way. I like my quarterback to be confident, like Mayfield. I don't like him to be cocky and, frankly, just narcissistic. Like him coming out of the draft and saying there were 9 mistakes ahead of him, And then someone gave him a opportunity to say, did you really mean this? And he said, oh, well, maybe just 3, because Baker, Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and Josh Allen were picked ahead of him. I don't like that. There are reports on UCLA that he got bored. I don't think he'll have a problem with that in the NFL, but it's definitely something that he'll have to work on and kind of fix his image. And frankly, I feel he peaked at UCLA. So far, there's no throw that he's made with the Arizona Cardinals that shows, oh, he's improved, getting drafted and spending time with an NFL team. I think he was a guy that had kind of hit his ceiling, and that's why I feel like it's low, because he's not going to improve too much. He's kind of where he's at. He's a solid B- quarterback. I think this class is great, but I don't think Josh Rosen will excel. 3 years down the road, this could come back to bite me, but this is what I think. I know this video is longer than most, but tell me what you guys think, just kind of getting back to it. I have Sam Darnold, number 1, Baker Mayfield, number 2, Lamar Jackson, number 3, a big gap after that, and then Josh Allen and Josh Rosen in that order. I know this video was a bit longer. I hope you guys could stand to listen to it. Thanks for watching. Leave comments down below. Tell me how I did, what I can improve on. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. Thanks, guys.